What's up, Richard Timmers here. With Margaret Qualley returning to the big screen this week for Honey Don't, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Margaret Qualley movies. Because she's only in like her like in her 20s, if I'm not mistaken, and already the girl's packing a really good resume for herself. She's also done some TV shows as well, like that show Made on Netflix, The Leftovers, but I'm actually just going to go with her movies rather than her shows, to be honest, yeah. So here is my official top 10 favorite Margaret Qualley movies, which, by the way, she is also the daughter of Andy McDowell, from Groundhog Day and many others. And acting really, talent really runs in the Qualley household. Anyway, here is my official top 10 list. Alright. Coming in at number 10 is Palo Alto. Palo Alto was directed by Gia Coppola, who recently put out that new Pamela Anderson movie just recent, The Last Showgirl. And now Margaret Qualley doesn't have much to do here, but this is actually her first feature, if I'm not mistaken. This also stars like Emma Roberts, James Franco, one of the Wolf brothers, Nat Wolf, the late Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's son, Jack Kilmer, is also in this. And this is pretty much let's say, it's sort of like Euphoria of the early 2010s, really. I remember seeing this one in theaters. Very risque at times. It's about raw portrait of suburban teens navigating lust, boredom, and self-destruction. Margaret Qualley plays a supporting role as a troubled teen, contributing the film's gritty atmosphere. It's, of course, her earliest performance, but she does such a great job here. James Franco is very creepy in this because he's James Franco, obviously. But he is still pretty decent. Val Kilmer is pretty good. Emma Roberts. It definitely has a bit of the Euphoria feel to it. It's a really interesting one worth giving a go. Alright, number 9 is Novotate. Novotate, of course, stars Melissa Leo, Diana Agron. And here, of course, it takes place in 1960s during the Vatican. Where Kathleen is a young woman who enters a covenant to become a nun here. And the movie is very risque for a nun movie. But it does have some good performances. Of course, Margaret Qualley plays Sister Kathleen, who does such a great standout performance. Melissa Leo's great. Diana Agron's terrific, from Glee fame. It's a really interesting film worth giving a go. Alright. Coming in at number 8 is Poor Things. Now, of course, this does star, obviously everyone always talks about Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and all, but Margaret Qualley gave a pretty solid performance here, too. She is very minor, she doesn't have as much big roles here, but she does play the part very well. She plays Felicity, who's this naive companion to Bella, adding the film's eccentric ensemble. Of course, Emma Stone's great in this, Mark Ruffalo, William Dafoe. It, of course, won Emma Stone her second Oscar. Well deserved there. It is a really interesting film. Very intense throughout. Qualley's chemistry with Stone's really good. Really good film worth giving a go. Of course, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who she, of course, worked with again. Alright, number 7 is another Yorgos Lanthimos film. And unpopular to say, I think this is better than Poor Things. I know that's unpopular to say because Poor Things is obviously an Oscar winner and this wasn't. But Cons of Kindness, I thought was really good. Of course, this is actually Qualley plays different characters in 3 different stories, and she is really solid in all of them. This is, of course, where a man seeks freedom from his controlling boss. A cop suspects his wife's of estranged after near drowning, and of course, a woman searches for a spiritual leader. And again, Qualley plays multiple various roles, and her gigs in this is pretty good. And her performance is amazing. Again, I think this is actually better than Poor Things. I really do like the anthology route they took with this. Great performances by the cast and stuff. Really amazing film. Alright, number 6 is Stars at Noon. Stars at Noon, of course, featured the likes of Benny Safdie. You also had John C. Reilly, Joe Alwyn. It takes place in 1984's Nicaragua, where Trish is a young American journalist who becomes entangled with Daniel, a mysterious Englishman. and they have a passionate affair that amid political turmoil. And Margaret Qualley and Joe Alwyn, who by the way actually dated Taylor Swift before, so cool there. They both had some really good performances with one another. They really play off each other very well. It is a really interesting film, worth giving a go. So yeah, of course Benny Safdie is good in this. There is lots of risque stuff throughout too, but a really decent film there. All right, number 5 is Sanctuary. This is also pretty risque. But it also stars Margaret Qualley and Christopher Abbott, who's of course Abbott plays Hal, who's a wealthy heir to the who tries to end a secret relationship with this dominatrix in a single night at a hotel. And yeah, it's also very risque throughout. But Margaret Qualley really nails her part very well. Abbott's really good. It's mostly those two one like one setting. It's a very interesting psychological drama thriller here, and well, an interesting watch. All right, number 4 is Drive Away Daughters. Now, of course, Margaret Qualley does have Honey Don't this week, which is directed by Ethan Cohen. But Drive Away Daughters was, of course, her first film with him. Now, of course, this is about free spirit Jamie, played by Qualley, and a reserve Moran, who's embarks on a road trip to Tallahassee after like a breakup here, and it's a really interesting, fun road trip type film. The chemistry between Margaret Qualley and Geraldine Fitzwendenen is great. Beanie Feldstein's good in this. You got Pedro Pascal, Matt Damon, Coleman Domingo, some great supporting players. It's a lot of fun, to say the least. It didn't really get much love at the time, but I still think it's a good film worth giving a go. Number 3 is The Nice Guys. Another one of like Qualley's earliest roles. The Nice Guys is so great, man. Of course, you got Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling, who of course plays like the bumbly private eye and a tough enforcer who teams up to find a missing girl, Amelia, played by Qualley. And Margaret Qualley is really good in this one. Of course, scenes where she's trying to get away from them was pretty interesting. Margaret Qualley really, like, spoiler alert, her character does get killed in this, which, again, she doesn't have much to do with, like, she doesn't really have as much screen time as you think. But the scenes that she is in, she really nails it every bit. Of course, Russell Crowe's great. Edgerrai Rice, who was just in Mean Girls last year, she was good in this one as Ryan Gosling's daughter. She steals lots of scenes. Kim Basinger is good in this. It is a really interesting film, directed by Shane Black. If you guys haven't seen The Nice Guys, go check that one out. Alright, number 2 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Of course, directed by Quentin Tarantino with Leo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, many others. Now, of course, you got Margaret Qualley, who plays one of the flirtatious Manson family member, and it is based on, and her character is named, Pussycat here, and she, of course, ends up hitting on Brad Pitt's Cliff Booth character, and obviously she's one of the Manson girls who leads him to the Manson household. Margaret Qualley, her roles in this is really interesting, to say the least. She really gave such a good performance throughout. Like, again, she doesn't really have too much screen time as you think, but some of her screen moments are pretty interesting. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is very notoriously for giving some interesting breakout performances. Like Austin Butler, Mikey Madison came from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sydney Sweeney, many others. So, yeah, lots of people, some of the minor people from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood end up becoming breakout stars in the near future. So, cool there. And my number 1 favorite Margaret Qualley film is a recent one, and that is The Substance. The Substance, of course, just came out last year, starring Demi Moore. The Substance is excellent. Of course, you got Margaret Qualley, who plays Sue, who is this ambitious clone of Elizabeth, a body youth and perfectionist here. Qualley's performance is very great. Of course, she looks really great in this too, so that's that. She really plays like the younger Demi Moore perfectly. She really embodies that, like the younger Demi Moore. Of course, Dennis Quaid was good in this. I still think Margaret Qualley should have gotten some Oscar recognition. Such a shame she didn't. But The Substance is still really great. One of the best like body horror movies in recent years. Great performance all around. Qualley Fargate did such a great job here. Really good film there. But that's pretty much it. Here is my quick rundown. Number 10, Palo Alto. 9, Novotate. 8, Poor Things. 7, Kinds of Kindness. 6, Stars at Noon. 5, Sanctuary. 4, Driveway Doors. 3, The Nice Guys. 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And number 1, The Substance. Now, there's lots of other ones I probably could have added. Let's see. Now, she was also in a music video with Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, talk about risky right there. Let's see. She was, of course, in the Death Note remake, which I actually did not mind the Death Note remake. So many people poo-poo on that, but it isn't so bad. Let's see. Can't wait for Blue Moon. That looks interesting. Now, I'm not gonna. As much as I like Happy Gilmore 2, I did not include Happy Gilmore 2 on this list because she's only just in one scene. That's really it. But I did quite like seeing her in Happy Gilmore 2. Let's see. Io, she was in. Donnybrook with Frank Grillo. Native Son, Seaberg, My Salinger Year. I mean, she has just such a great resume. I mean, again, she's only, how old is she? Margaret Qualley age. I know she's in like her early 20s. Oh, she's actually 30. Wow, she's already 30 years old and already has a good resume, like film resume. I mean, I think she's incredible. Every time she pops up and stuff, is always a given. Anyway, and of course, by the way, she's married to Jack Anto. How you pronounce his name? Antonov. Hey, he's one lucky dude right there. Anyway, let me ask you guys. What are some of your favorite Margaret Qualley films, or even some of her favorite TV roles she's done? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy Signer.